Hello, my friends. For Tip Tuesday today, I want to talk to you about the importance of having a mentor. And particularly, I'm going to talk about business coaching, my experience with having a business coach. Don't mind that hair, which some of you have asked about in your questionnaires. My business coach, her name is Crystalee Beck, and she is the founder of the Mama Ladder, which is an organization that is dedicated to helping women thrive at the intersection of entrepreneurship and motherhood. She strongly believes that you can do both well. And that's why I chose her as my business mentor, because that is what I really desire, is to be able to build my business and be a super present mother. And I need somebody who understands and values that. I don't want to have a mentor who just doesn't even understand that world. Even if they're a super smart business person, that's what really drew me to Crystalee. When I saw that was their mission, I was like, yes, you can have a different mentor than me if your values are different, obviously. But you're going to want to find somebody that you really look at what they stand for, you look at what they've built, and you want to emulate that. And that's a good sign that they could be a good business mentor for you. Now, I did pay Crystalee to be my mentor, and I invested a lot at that time. It was a lot. I wasn't making money at all with my podcast then, but I decided to invest in it just like I would invest in a startup business. If I were, an entrepreneur with a startup, you have to put money in up front in order to make money. And that's how I treated it. I also thought of it as like tuition for school. I worked all through when my husband was in dental school. I worked. He didn't, because he was getting his training. And my work paid his tuition for his training. And so now I kind of feel like the roles are reversed, and he's working and his work is paying my tuition for my career as an entrepreneur and a podcaster. And now I finally, after investing up front in mentors and resources and things, I do make money now with my podcast. And I'm going to tell you more about that in another Tip Tuesday about how I do that. But initially, when I hired Crystalee, I wasn't making money. And to some people, that may just sound absolutely crazy. But I knew that I wanted to make progress in my business quickly. And I knew that I wanted somebody who was just ahead of me, a couple of years ahead of me in wisdom and knowledge, that could lead the way and guide me. I think that is a quality that I would really look for in a mentor or business coach. Is I almost feel like you don't want somebody who's eons ahead of you, who doesn't even remember what it was like to be in the place that you're at. I feel like get somebody who's just a few years ahead of you in experience and wisdom, who you really admire how they've done it, and you want to emulate how they've done it, and you want to have access to talk to them and pick their brain. And that honestly has been my favorite thing about working with Crystalee, is the ability to just brainstorm together. She's my sounding board. So how we've set it up with coaching with her is we have a weekly call. So we have a set amount of time. So the first time I worked with her, it was 3 months. We have a weekly call for an hour. And then in between that, if I need to communicate with her, we have some other ways to do that. But during that weekly call, it's just an opportunity to have the best sounding board in the world. Somebody who's super knowledgeable, who's super invested in you and your success, that you can talk through things with and say, what do you think about this? And what do you think about this? And can you add your expertise here? How would you go about doing this? That's been my favorite part of having a business coach and a mentor, is just having her as a sounding board and having a captive audience of somebody who is willing to listen to me talk about my business. Because sometimes I feel like it can get really lonely, because your friends don't really get what you're doing, and you don't want to bore them all the time, always talking about your business or your podcast, what you're excited about. So you kind of hold back. And maybe your husband's tired of hearing you talk about it all the time. So it's just really nice to have that dedicated person to talk to brainstorm with, to pick their brain. And honestly, what I loved about Crystalee is I I felt like she was as invested in my business as I was, which is impossible. Nobody can be as invested in my business as I am, obviously, but like I feel like she was darn close. She really cared about my business and my success. She would say things to me like, when I was on my hike this Saturday, I was thinking about you and this came to mind as something you could try. Or she's like, I read this article and I immediately thought of that issue that we were troubleshooting, and she'd send that along. And so it was just very clear to me that my business and I were on her mind like all the time. And that is so valuable in a mentor. So I'm going to talk specifically today about what Crystalee taught me, but I think that you can use anyone as a mentor as long as they're knowledgeable and there's somebody that you would like to emulate. I do also want to say that I'm pretty sure that Crystalee is accepting some new coaching clients right now. So if you are interested in working with her, you can reach out to her. And she also has some really cool programs for mom entrepreneurs that she's opening up. I think May 1st she's opening up her program that's called Mama Power. And it's all, it will help you accelerate your business much faster. And I've already signed up to be a part of that. So that's another reason why you can tell that Crystalee's really blessed my life, is that I just keep coming back for more. So we did the 3 months of coaching, then she went on maternity leave, and that was really hard for me because I had gotten so used to having her to pick her brain and stuff, and then I didn't have access to her at all during her maternity leave, and I missed her, and I missed that input. It was also really good for me because it forced me to rely on myself and what she taught me and say like, no, I can do this. And so I did. And my podcast grew a lot. My business grew a lot during those 3 months that she was on maternity leave. But then I signed up to work with her again, and then, which shows how much I valued it. And then now I'm going to her program, Mama Spring Break. And I've already signed up for this program that she's doing called Mama Power. So I'm a believer. Okay. But speaking of accelerating your business, what a mentor does, I heard on a business podcast recently, somebody said, you can go at it alone. You don't have to have a mentor to succeed in business. But if you do that, you are choosing the slowest, hardest way. So if you want it to be faster and easier, hire a mentor who can guide you along the way. Other thing that I wanted to mention was, if you are just not in a place where you can hire a mentor, you can also look for mentors in the world around you for free. There's so much amazing free material online now, like business podcasts, Amy Porterfield's podcast, and Jenna Kutcher's podcast. When I listen to those, I'm like, I cannot believe they offer all of this for free. And that they're just two of the like dozens of business podcasts. There's also lots of free webinars that you can do for pretty much any like entrepreneur that has a program that they're selling. They usually have a webinar first that gives really great nuggets before their paid program. So you can always just do those and gain a lot of really good mentoring that way. So you don't always have to pay for it. The good thing about paying for a mentor is it really holds you accountable to take it seriously. And like when I invested in doing coaching with Crystalee, it was like, okay, Rachel, it's go time. Like if you're investing in this, you're committing and you're going to work hard on your business the next 3 months. So that is the value of hiring a mentor. So here are 3 things that I learned from Crystalee. And I went back through my notes and I was like there were so many things that I'm like, how am I going to narrow this down to 3? But I'm just going to stick with 3 that hopefully will help you. The first one is this phrase that she taught me: people pay attention to what they pay for. Let's say that again. People pay attention to what they pay for, which goes back to paying for a mentor. She told me that in the context of helping me to feel okay about pricing my workshops and pricing them at like a premium level. Because I felt like nervous about that. I felt a little bit guilty. Like, should I not be charging women for motherhood advice? And I feel like I just had like a lot of blocks, like money blocks. And that's very common for people, that you grow up and you're raised with certain attitudes around money, and sometimes you need to kind of like overcome those in your own business. So to help me see that it was okay to charge for some of my services, she would tell me, people pay attention to what they pay for. If you ask people to pay a premium rate to attend your workshop, you're only going to get people there who are serious about the work, who are truly invested, who are your ideal customer, and who want to be there, are hungry to learn, and will really take it and go with it because they've invested a significant amount into it. And I love that advice. I think it's very true, and I think of it often. She also taught me that I shouldn't discount my work. Like I shouldn't always be offering like discounts here and there and everywhere, because she said that devalues your work. She's like, just from the beginning, have a fair price that you know is your worth, and then don't discount it and stick by your guns. And I do usually offer one discount with my workshops, which is the first week of my workshop, people can get a discount, because that encourages people to buy quickly, which makes my life a lot easier, because if my workshops sell out fast, then I don't have to spend the next however many weeks advertising and marketing and everything. So it's worth it to me to offer that one discount. But other than that, I don't. And she really encouraged me not to do that, because people pay attention to what they pay for. Second thing, she encouraged me to hire an employee, and she coached me through that process. Again, this was really scary and hard for me because I wasn't making money. But I was so overwhelmed by all of the like details and the nitty gritty of my business that I couldn't focus on my own zone of genius, because I was spending hours responding to emails and like putting up writing the show notes and all of these different things. And she encouraged me that in order to have time and space to monetize my podcast, I needed to delegate some of those things to someone else, so that I had room to do the higher level thinking that would lead to monetization. So even though it seemed really kind of backwards that I was paying an employee before I was paying myself, it allowed me to get to a place where I could pay myself. I spoke at a workshop last fall and made my first amount of money from the show. And I used that money to hire my communications manager, Molly. And then I was able to make a little bit more money from a workshop, and so on and so forth. So she really helped me to see that hiring an employee is an investment in my business. Again, treating it as a startup. And she walked me through the process of hiring an employee, things that I should include in the application process, how I should pay her, the wording. I'm not going to get into all of that today because we're already at 13 minutes, but maybe eventually I will do a video on hiring your first employee. And Molly just works for me 5 hours a week. So we're not talking about a full-time crazy employee, but just somebody to help take the burden off of you as you're building your business. So valuable. Honestly, hiring Crystalee and hiring Molly are the two best decisions I made for my business by far. Okay. So in the last year, amazing. Okay. Then the last thing that she taught me, the third thing, not the last because there's a million. The third thing that she taught me is she helped me to work through my first birthday campaign. So for the first birthday of the podcast, I knew I wanted to do something with my 3 and 30 where I gave listeners the opportunity to share their own 3 and 30. And I brought that idea to Crystalee and said, what do you think of this idea? And then she helped me to hone it. And she had all this wisdom and advice and insight on how to really use that opportunity to grow my podcast and to kind of build momentum and excitement around my podcast through that idea. So one thing that she taught me is that she said that campaigns like that need to have a visual component. So she does something called the High Five Grant, where people put up their hand, the 5. It's a grant for $5,000 that her organization gives out. So as part of the application process, applicants have to put up their hand in a 5, and then they write their why, their reason for doing their business on their palm. They take a picture and they post it. And so then you start to see all these pictures around the internet of women with their why written on their hand, and you immediately associate it with the mama ladder. And that's what she wanted for me. She said, you want a visual component that people will immediately associate with 3 and 30, and you want it to be super simple. So we did the 3 fingers up for my 3 and 30. So women posted their my 3 and 30 with a picture of them doing this, and it was super fun. And I was so glad that I added that visual component to it, so that when people saw it right away, they knew, oh, that's with my 3 and 30. But there's any number of things that you can do to make a campaign visual. It doesn't always have to be with your hands and stuff like that, but just the idea of having a visual marker around a campaign that people can connect to when they see it. She also encouraged me to pre-invite people to participate in that campaign. So to reach out to some of my most devoted core listeners, and in advance of announcing that, reach out to them and say, hey, would you want to participate in this my 3 and 30? And it makes them feel really special and exclusive, and it also guarantees that at least a few people will be participating in your campaign if you pre-invite them, or kind of invite them specifically and off to the side from the general invite that you do. It will help ensure that your campaign is more successful. Also, to commit those people to share early in your campaign, so that hopefully that will get the ball rolling, so other people will want to jump in and join and share. These are all insights that I got from Crystalee. So again, I would often bring her an idea, and then she would help me refine it and perfect it based on her years of experience as a business owner. So that was a lot, and there's actually a lot more that I could say under each one of those. That she helped me with my money blocks by helping me see that it was okay to charge for my services, that it would help people take them seriously. She encouraged me and then coached me through hiring an employee, and she helped me make my first birthday campaign more successful. This is a long one, but I hope it's helpful. You can reach out to Crystalee if you would like help with your business. And I'm also hoping in the next 2 months or so to write a podcasting course that I would love for you guys. You guys are going to be the people that I tell about it. And so I would love to be a podcasting mentor of yours. I don't think I'm going to do one-on-one mentoring at this point, although who knows, maybe I'll change my mind on that. And if that's something that you would be interested in being one-on-one mentored by me or coached by me on podcasting, reach out, reply to this email and tell me that, and then maybe I'll consider it. But I just wanted to put that out there, that I'm grateful that you're allowing me to be your mentor, even just in this format, once a week with these tips. And I so hope that it's helpful, and I hope that whoever it is, you will find a mentor. All right, I hope you guys have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you next week.